Lesson 136. Sickness is a defense against the truth. Welcome to the Qigong support for A Course in Miracles. I'm Judith and you're at the Lucid Mind Center. What a ride it has been since I read the previous lesson to today. Finally, I get to read this lesson today. And I wanted to record this lesson on the same day in the evening as I recorded the other lesson, yesterday's lesson, and it didn't happen. I didn't record yesterday and I didn't record all day today either. And it's almost as if life was teaching me, you're not ready, you haven't understood it. You haven't understood defenselessness and attack. You haven't understood it. So I have had a roller coaster of emotions. And also I forgot to tell you something yesterday for yesterday's lesson. It's because we're always defending ourselves. We always feel that we need to justify ourselves, we need to justify our actions. But as a matter of fact, when we are justifying our actions, or when we are defending ourselves, we are assuming that we are being attacked. And nobody's attacking us. But as we are justifying, we are protecting ourselves, we are kind of imagining in our mind that the attack is there. And when we are talking with somebody in that way, the other one actually feels like, I haven't attacked you, why are you defending yourself? And we're doing this all the time. So let's have a look what this lesson today is going to bring us, where it's going to take us. I'm very glad you're here. Let me know where you're actually watching from, how long you've been with A Course in Miracles. And please subscribe to my channel so more Course in Miracles students can find me. We are going to read this lesson and contemplate this lesson together. And after that, I'm going to suggest a Qigong class for you, which is going to help you internalize this particular lesson. I have got many different Qigong classes, which I have recorded specifically for A Course in Miracles students. And I have got seated guided meditations. I have got moving meditations, also guided. Pardon me. And in each one of those meditations, I always ask you to remember your lesson. And then I also ask you to allow yourself to listen to your higher self, to explain this lesson in your own words, so the understanding can sink deeper. In Qigong, I'm teaching you to sink deep within yourself. The way I'm understanding the Course in Miracles, and I have been studying it for many, many years. The way I understand it is that combined with Qigong, that our true self is deep within our awareness of self. Not only in our head, it's like deep within the space which our body as well occupies. And there's this central channel which is connecting us to it. And according to Qigong or Chinese medicine, we have got three energy centers which are called the three dantians. And the lower dantian, which is connected to our vitality, this is also where our qi is anchored. Our life force energy is anchored in the lower dantian. So the Course in Miracles always talks about sinking deep within. So we want to sink deep within, past that belt of fear. The belt of fear, I place it like in this area where the heart is, the lungs and the kidneys and liver and spleen. And in Qigong, we are learning that each one of those organs has got a virtue, which is kind of hidden behind the negative emotions of that organ. For example, the liver, the virtue is kindness and generosity, and that is hidden behind anger and jealousy and envy. So sometimes we need to get past this, get rid of this, or let go of those negative emotions and sink past to become aware of virtue, of the virtue. So sometimes I will be talking about the belt of fear. So when I'm saying that, I mean that you should be sinking past the belt of fear. You should sink past the negative emotion deep inside, those negative emotions, which are really the ego creations, the ego makings. So you want to sink deep past that ego madness, if you will, and connect to our true self. So before we start reading this lesson, let's just do this together. Let's imagine that we have got a channel, like a pole of light or a channel of light coming through the crown of our head, coming all the way through our body and coming out of the perineum. And it's actually anchoring itself in the earth. And just imagine that this pole of light is actually connected to Source. It's connected to God, or connected to your higher self, to Christ consciousness, to Jesus, angels, whatever you like, what you like to name this power which is higher than you, which is bigger than the sum of all its parts. Let's just connect to that. You can also imagine that it's like a pole of light, and just let's bring it down into our awareness. And let's help ourselves with the hands. Inhale through the nose, and now exhale it down through the mouth, and exhale it down through that central channel into the earth. And now let's just do this up. Let's connect to the heavenly chi, to the universe, the yang energy, and exhale it down. Very good. Let's bring in the light into our mind. Inhale and exhale down. And let's anchor it all in our lower dantian. Let's just become really aware of our central channel. Let's do again through the mouth. Inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Very well. Bring new energy, new fresh chi into the heart now. Inhale and exhale it down. Very good. And the last one, connect to the confidence of the earth. Bring the confidence into your lower dantian, in the belly area, and exhale it down. Very good. And then just become aware again of that central channel. Notice that you are already much calmer, much more connected, much more in peace. And let's begin reading our lesson together. And let me know at the end how this is for you, if you actually like to connect in the beginning with the higher self, if this is actually nice for you. So, lesson 136. Sickness is a defense against the truth. No one can heal unless he understands what purpose sickness seems to serve. For then he understands as well its purpose has no meaning. Being causeless and without a meaning and meaningful intent of any kind, it cannot be at all. When this is seen, healing is automatic. Let me repeat this. Being causeless, the sickness, and without a meaningful intent of any kind, it cannot be at all. When this is seen, healing is automatic. It dispels this meaningless illusion by the same approach that carries all of them to truth and merrily leaves them there to disappear. Sickness is not an accident. Like all defenses, it is an insane device for self-deception. And like all the rest, its purpose is to hide reality, to attack it, change it, render it inept, distort it, twist it, or reduce it to a little pile of unassembled parts. The aim of all defenses is to keep the truth from being whole. The parts are seen as if each one were whole within itself. Sickness is not an accident. Like all defenses, it is an insane device for self-deception. And like all the rest, its purpose is to hide reality, attack it, change it, render it inept, distort it, twist it, or reduce it to a little pile of unassembled parts. I have done that today. The aim of all defenses is to keep the truth from being whole. The parts are seen as if each one were whole within itself. Defenses are not unintentional, nor are they made without awareness. They are secret magic wands you wave when truth appears to threaten what you would believe. They seem to be unconscious but become of the rapidity with which you choose to use them. In that second, even less, in which the choice is made, you recognize exactly what you would attempt to do and then proceed to think that it is done. And this is exactly what has happened to me. It's because I had a difficulty yesterday or the day before when I was reading this, 2 days ago, when I was reading this lesson. I had a difficulty in sinking in and also in explaining it properly because it wasn't getting to me. And then life had to teach me. It's like, I want to know, well, then life is going to teach me. I altogether find that the biggest desire, which is going to make things come true, is the need to know. When you have got the desire to know or understand, or when you're wondering, I wonder how that would feel, or I need to understand this, then life will teach you. Life will find a way of teaching you. And it has taught me definitely. Who but yourself evaluates a threat? So I felt this was a threat. I felt that I couldn't understand it. So I had a huge roller coaster, emotional roller coaster, which taught me, which I'm going to tell you during the lesson. Who but yourself evaluates a threat, decides escape is necessary, and sets up a series of defenses to reduce the threat that has been judged as real. All this cannot be done unconsciously. But afterwards, your plan requires that you must forget you made it. So it seems to be external to your own intent, a happening beyond your state of mind, an outcome with a real effect on you instead of one affected by yourself. And you have to really observe yourself. You have to be really vigilant to see this. I'm getting into a phase now where I would really like to be free. I would really like to travel. I would really like to, now that my kids are big, I would really like to not have all those ties on me. But yet all the time I'm tying myself more. And then afterwards I complain about life because I have got so many ties. So I am forgetting that I have done it. Afterwards, I put the tie on, I take on another responsibility. And then afterwards, I forget, as it says it, but afterwards your plan requires that you must forget you made it. So then I forget that I actually put that tie on, I put that chain on, I put that additional knot on myself. So it seems to be external to your own intent, a happening beyond your state of mind, an outcome with a real effect on you instead of one affected by yourself. And it's so interesting. But I suppose I needed to experience this so I could talk about it today. It is this quick forgetting of the part you play in making your reality which makes defenses seem to be beyond your own control. But what you have forgot can be remembered. Given willingness to reconsider the decision, which is doubly shielded by oblivion. God will have oblivion. Your not remembering is but the sign that this decision still remains in force as far as your desires are concerned. Mistake this not for fact. Defenses must make facts unrecognizable. They aim at doing this, and this they seem to do, every defense takes fragments of the whole, assembles them without regard to all their true relationships, and thus constructs illusions of a whole which is not there. It is this process which imposes threat and not whatever outcome may result. Let me just repeat this. Every defense takes fragments of the whole. This is what we're doing all the time. We're taking a fragment. We're taking something. Somebody says something, says a sentence, and we react to one word in that sentence. We are getting triggered by that one word, and then we are defending against that one word, distorting the entire conversation because we are getting triggered by that word. That's why I always say to you, if you're getting triggered by any of those words which the Course is using, use another one. If the word God is triggering you, use divine intelligence. If the word sin is triggering you, use another word. Because we are doing this all the time. Every defense takes fragments of the whole, assembles them, takes two fragments, takes three words out of a sentence and reassembles them and makes up its own mind and then says, okay, now I have to attack to defend myself, or I have to defend myself because I feel this person is attacking me, or this issue in my life is attacking me. So every defense takes fragments of the whole, assembles them without regard to all their true relationships, and thus constructs illusions of a whole which is not there. It is this process which imposes threat and not whatever outcome may result. Let me just remind you, sickness is a defense against the truth. So every time you're actually doing this, you are actually making yourself a little bit sick. When parts are wrested from the whole and seen as separate and different wholes within themselves, like wholes, WHOLES, different wholes within themselves, they become symbols standing for attack upon the whole, successful in effect, and never to be seen as whole again. And yet you have forgotten that they stand but for your own decision of what should be real to take the place of what is real. Sickness is a decision. It is not a thing that happens to you quite unsought, which makes you weak and brings you suffering. It is a choice you make, a plan you lay when for an instant truth arises in your own deluded mind, and all your world appears to totter and prepare to fall. Now are you sick that truth may go away and threaten your establishments no more. And obviously, if you're experiencing a sickness, this is extremely threatening. This whole paragraph. But I feel that sickness, when you are sick, it is almost as if it is like a message to yourself. It is almost like something you do not want to hear. You don't want to hear yourself. You don't want to see it. And then the body is kind of forcing you, or let me put it this way, you are using the sickness to force yourself to see the truth. Your higher self does this. It then actually uses your own sickness to force you to see the truth. I once had a very bad sinusitis many, many years ago. I had regular sinusitis, and I would have to take antibiotics and God knows what just to get rid of the sinusitis. And then I used to read those books by Louise L. Hay. And there was one of them, it was like yellow one, I can't remember the name, but there was explained each sickness, what it was for. Each sickness, which issue we are dealing with. So I looked at sinusitis, and in sinusitis said there is a person in your life which is really annoying you, and you are feeling guilty about it. So you're like pushing that away. And then I was kind of observing, well, who is this? Figured out who it was. And then I started forgiving them according to whatever Louise Hay was suggesting how to do it. And it worked. But just by me becoming aware that this was the reason for my sinusitis really disappeared. I never had it since. And that's more than 25 years ago. There's other issues I've had through my life. And when I actually look at the sickness, when I kind of say, okay, so what is that actually standing for? What is life trying to teach me? And when I'm willing to look at the truth, then the sickness goes away from me. This is how it works for me. I don't know if that can work for you, but maybe you can try it. How do you think that sickness can succeed in shielding you from truth? Because it proves the body is not separate from you. And so you must be separate from the truth. You suffer pain because the body does. And in this pain are you made one with the body. Thus is your true identity preserved, and the strange, haunting thought that you might be something beyond this little pile of dust, silenced and stilled. For see, this dust can make you suffer, twist your limbs and stop your heart, commanding you to die and cease to be. Thus is the body stronger than the truth, which asks you live but cannot overcome your choice to die. And so the body is more powerful than everlasting life, heaven more frail than hell, and God's design for the salvation of his Son opposed by a decision stronger than his will. His Son is dust, the Father incomplete, and chaos sits in triumph on his throne. So what we are believing is that our body is stronger than eternal life. We are identifying so much with our body that we are forgetting that we are not a body. That our mind belongs to the divine mind. Our mind is within the divine mind. And our body is within our mind. It's our construct of our mind. We're forgetting all this. The body in itself is kind of an attack on truth. And we can turn this around. We can use the body in our favor if we understand that it is a tool. Let's see what it says here. Such is your planning for your own defense, because you believe that the body is stronger than truth, which asks you to live but cannot overcome your choice to die. So such is your planning for your own defense, and you believe that heaven quails before such mad attacks as these, which with God made blind to you illusions, truth turned into lies, and all the universe made slave to laws which your defenses would impose on you. Yet who believes illusions but the one who made them up? Us. Who else can see them and react to them as if they were the truth? God knows not of your plans to change his will. The universe remains unheeding. I just want to point out here, God knows not of your plans to change his will. And then immediately it says, the universe remains unheeding of the laws by which you thought you govern it. So the universe and God, they are apart. And in Qigong, we are saying the mind belongs to the universe. And the world, our earth is within this universe. And heaven has not bowed to hell, nor life to death. So heaven, universe, God. Can you see the relation? You can but choose to think you die, or suffer sickness, or distort the truth in any way. What is created is apart from all of this. Defenses are plans to defeat what cannot be attacked. What is unalterable cannot change, and what is wholly sinless cannot sin. Such is the simple truth. It does not make appeal to might, nor triumph. It does not command obedience, nor seek to prove how pitiful and futile your attempts to plan defenses which would alter it. It merely wants to give you happiness, for such is its purpose is. Perhaps it sighs a little when you throw away its gifts, and yet it knows with perfect certainty that what God wills for you must be received. Sickness is a defense against the truth. In this fact, which demonstrates that time is an illusion, it is this fact which demonstrates that time is an illusion, for it lets you think what God has given you is not the truth right now, as it must be. The thoughts of God are quite apart from time, for time is but another meaningless defense. So time in itself is a meaningless defense you made against the truth. Yet what God wills is here, and you remain as He created you. Just want to point this out. We have made time. It says here, you have made time. So we have made time, we have made illusion, we have made this body. This is all within our mind. It is all in this construct of our mind. And what we have to decide is that to use all this what we have made to wake up again. It's almost like, imagine that you are like in a computer game. I don't know if you have ever played computer games. I have quite a lot when I was younger. You are going in, you have got this character, and what you wanna, when you are in this dream world of a computer game, then all you want to do is kind of go through it and beat the game. And I feel that beating the game in this situation which we are finding ourselves is that we want to become awake and aware and lucid within this life, remembering that we are just in a dream. This is a dream what we are having here. We want to become awake within this dream. At least awake ourselves. And then maybe with this, awake other people, wake other people up with it. Yet what God wills is here, and you remain as He created you. Truth has a power far beyond defense, for no illusions can remain where it has been allowed to enter. And it comes to any mind that would lay down its arms and cease to play with folly. It is found at any time today. It is found at any time today if you will choose to practice giving welcome to the truth. This is our aim today, and we will give a quarter of an hour twice to ask the truth to come to us and set us free. And truth will come, for it has never been apart from you. It merely waits for just this invitation which we give today. It's almost like a genie in the bottle. Once you rub it and say, come and help me, it will come. We introduce it with a healing prayer to help us raise above defensiveness and let the truth be as it has always been. And this is the prayer. Sickness is a defense against truth. I will accept the truth of what I am and let my mind be wholly healed today. Healing will flash across your open mind as peace and truth arise to take the place of war and vain imaginings. There will be no dark corners sickness can conceal and keep defended from the light of truth. There will be no dim figures from your dreams, nor their obscure and meaningless pursuits with double purposes insanely sought remaining in your mind. So healing will flash across your open mind as peace and truth arise to take the place of war and vain imaginings. It will be healed of all the sickly wishes that it tried to authorize the body to obey. Now is the body healed because the source of sickness has been opened to relief, and you will recognize you practiced well by this. The body should not feel at all. And you will recognize you practice well by this. The body should not feel at all. If you have been successful, there will be no sense of feeling ill, or feeling well, or pain or pleasure. Okay, let's try that. No response at all is in the mind to what the body does. Its usefulness remains and nothing more. And it's a big one today. So if you have been successful with this, what we're doing today, there will be no sense of feeling ill, nor of feeling well, no pain, no pleasure. There's just going to be a sense of being. No response at all is in the mind to what the body does. Its usefulness remains and nothing more. We're gonna try this in the Qigong classes. I mean, each Qigong class is always bringing us into a state where we are not feeling the body, where we are in communion with our higher self. This is the aim of the Qigong classes. Perhaps you do not realize that this removes the limits you had placed upon the body by the purposes you gave it. As these are laid aside, the strength the body has will always be enough to serve all truly useful purposes. The body's health is fully guaranteed because it is not limited by time, by weather or by fatigue, by food or drink or any laws you made it serve before. You need do nothing now to make it well, for sickness has become impossible. Yet this protection needs to be preserved by careful watching. If you let your mind, if you let your mind harbor attack thoughts, yield to judgment, or make plans against uncertainties to come, you have again misplaced yourself and made a bodily identity which will attack the body, for the mind is sick. I remember when I read this. I read this yesterday morning because I wanted to record it. And I remember this whole 2 paragraphs, I found them difficult. I was like, really? How am I going to read this? People are going to think, it's going to be a difficult one to transmit and explain. Yet this protection needs to be preserved by careful watching. This protection we are talking about. Perhaps you do not realize that this removes the limits you had placed upon the body by the purposes you gave to it. As you lay all those protections aside, the strength the body has will always be enough to serve all truly useful purposes. The body's health is fully guaranteed because it is not limited by time, by weather or fatigue, by food or drink, or any laws you made it serves before. You need do nothing now to make it well, for sickness has become impossible. Yet this protection needs to be preserved by careful watching. If you let your mind harbor attack thoughts, yield to judgment, or make plans against uncertainties to come, you have again misplaced yourself and made a bodily identity which will attack the body, for the mind is sick. Give instant remedy should this occur by not allowing your defensiveness to hurt you longer. Do not be confused about what must be healed, but tell yourself, I have forgotten what I really am, for I mistake my body for myself. Sickness is a defense against the truth, but I am not a body, and my mind cannot attack, so I cannot be sick. So this is a very, very, very important lesson, but it's also a very difficult lesson to grasp. So I definitely believe that this is one of those lessons where you should really sink deep, deep, deep into a meditation. Write those sentences down at least once by hand, because it's going to help your memory, and lay it next to you as you're doing either the standing or the moving meditation. And also this last paragraph here, the last prayer, I have forgotten what I really am, for I mistook my body for myself. Sickness is a defense against the truth, but I am not a body, and my mind cannot attack, so I cannot be sick. And write also this down. And I know this is hard, and sometimes the whole, what I have found with doing the Course in Miracles, sometimes a lesson makes no sense the first time. And sometimes it's 2 or 3 lessons down which make no sense, or they're very difficult to grasp, or there is all kinds of defenses coming up where you're like, oh, I can't believe this. This is not, I can't understand this lesson. But sometimes just hang on to it. Just do it that one day, and then go to the next lesson, and then go to the next lesson. And then sooner or later, maybe 2 or 3 lessons down the line, suddenly you're going to have this aha moment. Suddenly there's going to come this light in your mind, and you're going to understand it. Just going to have to trust it. And this particular part here, I myself find difficult to grasp. But still, I trust that whatever I have said, or whatever comes to you, whatever answers you're going to give me down in the comments, is actually going to help us both understand this particular lesson better. So for this, I definitely suggest at least a 15 minutes, if not a 20 or 25-minute meditation. So I'm giving you here this lesson, this particular Qigong class, which I think would be good for you, or this particular Qigong class, and here you have got the whole list which you can choose from if you do not like the 2 lessons I'm suggesting to you. Enjoy, and let me know how it goes for you.